Please remain at surface level, or slightly above if possible.
Good evening, citizens of Hive Gloriana. This is your sanctioned voice in the static, your comfort in the recyc wind, your reminder that even the dust has ears. The ecclesiarchy has concluded its review. Faith remains unbroken. Deviation negligible. Dissonance contained. All hymnal irregularities have been catalogued, corrected, and, where necessary, cleansed. Today's saint is Rellakar the Unflustered, patron saint of overworked clerks, misfiled visions, and those who stare at machines blankly. Saint Rellakar began life as an ordinary archivist adept with an extraordinary ability. He could remain utterly calm no matter what the vox machines whispered to him. While other adepts fled, shrieking from malfunctioning animus machines, Rellakar merely nodded, took notes, and asked the heretical circuitry to speak more clearly. Legend states he once survived a 72-hour shift in which 3 data spirits tried to possess him simultaneously. Rather than succumbing, he simply requested that they form a queue. They obeyed. This is widely regarded as his first miracle. Upon his ascension, declared immediately after he was crushed beneath a collapsing stack of prayer forms, he was credited with dozens of minor wonders, including the miracle of the self-sorting in tray, later found to be a draft in the ventilation system, the quietening of the loud cogitator, he turned it off, and the discovery of the infinite filing drawer, which no longer exists and therefore cannot be questioned. His bones were interred in a reliquary labelled miscellaneous out of respect for his life's work. Devotees of Saint Rellakar mark the day by maintaining serene expressions when their machines rattle ominously, pretending not to see messages forming in dust motes, filing 3 documents incorrectly in sacred imitation, and lighting a small candle under their desk as he allegedly did for ambience rather than piety. Citizens are reminded that fires caused by devotional ambience must be reported immediately. May your paperwork remain manageable, may your machines hum only in approved tones, and may any unseen presence politely wait its turn. The ecclesiarchy reminds all citizens that the example of Saint Rellakar teaches serenity, patience, and unwavering composure in the face of the incomprehensible. The administratum reminds citizens that serenity is mandatory, patience is taxable, and composure must never interfere with productivity. And remember, faith is simply doubt that surrendered early. Civic announcements. The Departamento Sanitas reminds all citizens that rumours of excavation beneath the ecclesiarchal chapel are exaggerated, misinformed, or entirely devotional in nature. Any chanting reported from sublayer 9 is either a misheard ventilation cycle, a malfunctioning archivist spirit, or a personal revelation which must be reported immediately, in triplicate, in writing, and without trembling. Minor tremors across central habs are the result of routine maintenance, not divine movement or tectonic remorse. Citizens experiencing vibrational intimacy with the floor should stand still until the sensation passes or escalates. Please be advised to ignore all unmarked vox signals containing choral elements. These transmissions are officially declared as archival echoes from improperly quarantined recordings. They are not alive. They are not calling your name. They are not asking you to join them, harmonize with them, complete their chord, or return to the warm place beneath the stones. Lift access to the lower sanctum remains restricted until structural sanctity is confirmed. Unauthorized descent is punishable by civic admonishment, penitent reassignment, or inclusion in future choral audits. Industrial report. Manufactoria output remains stable. Several overseers report that machinery now hums at devotional frequencies. These frequencies are not to be replicated without sanction. Workers are to refrain from harmonizing with the machines, regardless of perceived invitation. Participation in unauthorized duets will be punished. A minor collapse in sub-level conduits has unearthed structural formations not listed in any administratum schema. These sections of pre-hive architecture display carvings inconsistent with known devotional script, established subcults, or anything generally considered comforting. Citizens are reminded that such tunnels are to remain sealed until cleared of superstition, infestation, and unapproved inspiration. Unauthorized curiosity continues to be forbidden, despite recent lobbying by the Departamento Pedagogium. The Magos overseeing the excavation has described the uncovered walls as resonant. This term was deemed doctrinally ambiguous. His full statement has been archived under liturgical review, pending classification as either technical data, emerging prayer, or potential heresy. Until further notice, all personnel within Manufactoria Delta 19 are to report any hymnal vibrations, spontaneous harmonics, or perceived architectural whispering to their nearest overseer. Remember, industry is worship, but worship must be supervised, documented, and ideally sedated. Community events. In the matter of ongoing spiritual maintenance, the ecclesiarchal leadership has announced the temporary suspension of all choir activity, pending canonical verification of tone. This decision follows the recent discovery that several hymns, long believed traditional, were in fact being written in real time by the choir itself. As you know, spontaneous originality is strictly prohibited without clerical oversight. Replacement hymns will be distributed once the Office of Auditory Purity has completed its review. The current estimate is 3 cycles, assuming the auditors stop weeping long enough to finish the paperwork. Citizens living or labouring in proximity to the ecclesiarchal chapel are reminded that any sounds resembling breathing stone, shifting masonry, or gentle subterranean sighs are natural pressure phenomena. These phenomena are expected and should not be interpreted as sentience, liturgical opinion, or an attempt to join the choir pending suspension. In the event that you hear your name whispered from below the pews, please disregard. Additionally, the Departamento Sanitas requests that citizens refrain from knocking on chapel walls, even if the walls knock first. Such interactions may create the impression of dialogue, which is a privilege reserved for ordained stone. The lower sanctum remains sealed, and the church denies all claims of vocal emergence. These are echoes, nothing more. Old liturgies searching for mouths they used to know. To ensure orderly piety, citizens are reminded of the 3 prohibitions. Do not knock. Do not answer. Do not descend. Particularly the last one. Several citizens have attempted to descend despite the lack of stairs, which the ecclesiarchy has ruled an act of troubling enthusiasm. Please remain on your assigned devotional level until further clarification. Faith, like gravity and administrative punishment, works best when applied from above. Exploration notes. Several illicit audio fragments, misattributed as exploration notes, have circulated across communal vox lines. These recordings, while impressively dramatic, contain multiple inaccuracies, unapproved metaphors, and at least one incident of theological exaggeration. For clarity and continued morale, we provide the following corrective commentary.
Forgive me, Father. We opened the lower gate. Yeah, moved differently. It was thick. Listening.
Technician Alex Dreves' statement that the lower gate was opened is false. The lower gate is officially sealed. If a gate was opened, then it was not the lower gate, and if it was the lower gate, then it was not opened. This explanation is considered doctrinally sufficient. The statement the air moved differently is an emotional overinterpretation of routine atmospheric variance. Air cannot listen. Air has no ears. Any perceived attention from air is a sign of fatigue or recreational heresy. Citizens experiencing similar sensations should hydrate, and reports to their nearest quiet room.
We descended to verify the choir's absence. There were no singers, only mouths on the walls, still forming words.
Auditor Kalen's mention of mouths in the walls is a well-documented misinterpretation of structural imperfections, moisture erosion, or sanctioned architectural ornamentation. Walls do not grow mouths. Walls do not form words. If words were heard, they are pre-recorded liturgies undergoing natural echo distortion. If the walls appear to move while forming these words, you are advised to blink more frequently.
The choir was never stopped. It simply learned to echo through stone. And now, the stone sings back.
This transmission has been reviewed and determined to be incomplete, metaphorical, non-canonical, or entirely misunderstood. Lay preacher Solmay Var has been located in a state of deep contemplation and is expected to resume regular duties once her vocal cords stop resonating involuntarily. Final clarifications for civic calm. The stone is not singing. Should the stone actually be singing, it is doing so metaphorically. If, however, a melody is perceptible, citizens are advised not to harmonize. Past incidents have demonstrated that architectural hymns can be competitive and easily encouraged. Any citizens who believes they hear their own voice emerging from structural materials should immediately confirm that they are not simply thinking too loudly. Thank you for your continued obedience, your disciplined interpretation of sensory input, and your refusal to acknowledge unsanctioned acoustics. Maintenance Bulletin. Maintenance teams, please pause your panicking and attend. Power fluctuations continue through sub-level Gamma. These fluctuations have now achieved a level of rhythmic consistency that the Grimwright on duty classifies as statistically pleasing, though he insists, firmly, repeatedly, and louder each time he is asked, that the pattern is not music. He was, however, observed tapping his foot in time with the pulses, which he has since denied under oath, claiming it was merely a biomechanical twitch of no devotional significance. Technicians assigned to Sector Gamma 7 are reminded to maintain constant Vox contact during operations. Should your Vox line begin humming back at you, you may take comfort in knowing you have achieved communion. Unintentional, unauthorized, and irreversible, but communion nonetheless. Report it immediately. Or don't. At that point, clarity may no longer be amongst your strengths. In the event of harmonic distortion, defined as the moment when the lights dim, the air vibrates and your spine pops in arpeggio, please recite the Litany of Mechanism, verse 3, until the static stops. If the static does not stop, continue recitation. If the static begins providing backup harmony, the correct response is silence, followed by a brief, legible note in your last will and testament. Magos Technica requests volunteers for audio sterilization of sub-level conduits. Protective gear will be provided, as faith may not suffice, though the Magos notes that such equipment protects primarily the body and, to a much lesser extent, the mind. Lost and found. Found. One Vox bead emitting low-frequency pulses. Source unknown. Possibly the floor. Possibly the idea of the floor. Lost. Field Units 7, 6 auditors, 2 servitors, 4 audio sterilization teams and, by unanimous report, the sense of where the floor used to be. All personal effects have been collected, labeled vibrational, and filed in the ongoing phenomena drawer. Faith report. Faith metrics remain undefined. The omnimeter now only displays the word listening. Worshippers report that silence between prayers feels attentive. The ecclesiarchy assures the faithful that this is normal and proof of divine customer service. Ecclesiarchal authorities reassure the faithful that listening is still devotion. Morning bells now ring from below. No matter which level they are heard, they always ring from below. No mechanism has been found, but the sound is punctual, courteous, and smells faintly of ozone. Devotional reading. The Liturgy of Descent, verse 1. We go downward not to fall, but to find where the echo began. In darkness, the sound becomes truth. In truth, we become the sound. A lovely passage, although the Ecclesiarchy confirms that descending below subfloor 43 will be counted as heresy. Descending below subfloor 15 will also be counted as heresy. Weather report. Atmospheric conditions remain thick enough to chew. Air density increases near sanctum sector borders. Breathing is now a devotional act. A gentle fall of pulverized stone continues, or ash snow as the children call it, before being reminded that they should not be outside. The ministry advises all citizens to keep filtration tight, lungs reverent, and prayers internal. If you feel the ground vibrating beneath you with a faint rhythm, that's perfectly fine. It's just memory trying to crawl back up. And that concludes tonight's broadcast, citizens of Hive Gloriana. I am your humble host Servitor 241. Faith remains steady, even if the ground doesn't. And remember, the choir beneath the choir officially no longer sings, and that is a victory. If you still hear them, report to your nearest Vox shrine for reassignment to the audio sterilization teams. This is Vox Sanctum, signing off. Stay faithful, stay diligent, stay comfortably on the upper floors, and above all, remember, if you hear music, it's not for you. Ave Imperator. Host Servitor 241 was played by Richard Roberts. The explorers were Phillip Roy, Tate Devonald, and Rowan Winter. Vox Sanctum Gloriana is an Evil Lighthouse production.